presented by Dano's Seasoning. Yum yum, get you some.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate, and always hosted here by myself, Dominick TJ, and three-time FCS National Championship winner, Mr. TJ Corman, hailing from App State. What's going on, TJ?
Not much, man. Another day. Getting ready to enjoy this holiday. How about you guys? How are y'all?
Doing
Very
really
good.
well.
Very good. And the voice you're hearing there is from our guest tonight, who hails from Dunham Springs, Louisiana, had 33 offers out of high school, was on the roster of the Liberty team that went 13-1 last season, including a trip to the Fiesta Bowl, very prestigious bowl there for college football fans across the country. And he also spent a little time in the portal, so we're definitely going to have him speak on some of that. Welcome to the show tonight, Reese Mooney.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, and I want to make mention of this sign right behind me. This is all brought to you by collegefootballdogs.com. Go check out the website. We are hammering out articles left and right. We just announced our partnership with the Maxwell Football Club, who hands out the Maxwell Award, which is the Offensive Player of the Year, as well as the Bednarik Award, which is the Defensive Player of the Year. We will be helping them with some social media content and be doing some video, all kinds of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. With this announcement, they've also announced a Max Dog 15% off discount code for the website. So there is Sunbelt Syndicate merchandise on the website, including polos and t-shirts. So you can use the Max Dog, MAXDAWG code when you check out to get your 15% off. Go ahead and get you a Sunbelt Syndicate shirt. I think our top fan has already got it, and I bet, TJ, check out who's already commenting.
What's going on, Artie Cat?
Yes. I'm pretty sure he's ordered himself a shirt from what I've seen. He's saying hello to all of us, and definitely going to enjoy this one with Reese tonight. So, Reese, the last measurement I've got is 6 foot, 207 pounds. Is that still roughly accurate? Have you gotten a little taller?
I'm at about 6'1" now, 6'1.5". Like I've lost a couple pounds to like 203, 204. So
okay, slimming on purpose then, huh?
Yes, sir. Yep, trying to.
Gotcha. So you were a 3-star quarterback coming out of Denham Springs, Louisiana. What kind of high school team were you on? Were you a perennial powerhouse there, or is this a team that goes up and down? I mean, what kind of experience did you have coming out of high school?
Well, my freshman year we went 1-9, so it was kind of just a build up for us. You know, my senior year we were really, really stout, and we had a bunch of good players that went on to play college ball and are doing really good things now. But no, I mean, my freshman year we were 1-9, and then Coach Beard came in, kind of took over the team by storm, and we just took off ever since. The next year after that, we had a teammate that passed away, and that was pretty tough for us. But we ended up going 1-7 that year. That was the COVID year. And then my junior year, we went 5-6, lost in the playoffs, second round, and but that year I broke my ankle. And then senior year was when we had the best year we've had since 1985, where we lost in the quarterfinals. Almost made it to the semifinals. So it was a really good year for me and my team. Just all the battles and all the struggles that we went through. It all came. It was all good in the end. Had a bunch of good guys, a lot of teammates that I still have relationships with now. So I have nothing but great things to say about that team. And that's kind of what I have for that.
Nice. Very nice. So, TJ, you got any questions about maybe his style of play or anything that you want to ask him? Because, Reese, I didn't tell you this part before we started, but TJ was a high school quarterback before transitioning to, first a running back and then a wide receiver at App State. So he does have high school playing experience at the quarterback position. So anything specific, TJ, you're looking at when you've looked at what Reese can do on the field?
Yeah, I was all interested. I saw some of your highlights from high school and saw some of your highlights while you at Dunham Springs. And one of the things I'm more interested in is how did your style of play transfer from high school? Because it looks like you're fairly mobile, right? Like you can get around, you can do a really good job running the ball.
Yeah. So
yeah. So how does that translate from high school to where you are now, and what type of athlete does that make you, having had that experience?
I've actually become a lot more mobile in college, just because with the training that we do, it's just so hot, so intense, and in high school, just not the same.
Right.
But no, it's a huge jump from high school to college. At first, it was a little slow for me, but no, as I kind of got through these last two schools I was at, I've gained a lot of strength and mobility, just to help my skill set a lot better. So I kind of see myself more as I'd say a dual threat, but
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah. Does that so how much of that, I don't want to say inhibits or impairs your ability to run a gunslinging type of offense? I know what you're kind of going into. I've seen a lot of the highlights of your team, moving forward. Does that skill set translate, or what kind of offense are you walking into that is going to allow you to be able to showcase your talent?
It's kind of similar to the offense that I ran in high school. It's more of like a spread. We'll run the ball down your throat, and then we'll run our nakeds and our boots and stuff like that to go over the top and just kind of keep the defense on their toes at all times. And that's the kind of offense that I like. Get the ball out quick and all that perimeter stuff. So we do a lot of stuff. We get really creative with our offensive schemes and stuff like that. So
nice.
Very nice. Artie is confirming that he did already order the T-shirt. I thought I saw his name pop up on that.
Of course he did. It wouldn't be Artie if he wasn't already prepared.
Yeah. He's
funny.
Prepared. I'm not even wearing the shirt. He's prepared more. I was wearing the red, white, and blue today, as I alluded to you two guys before we started the show. So I just kept the red. I mean, the rest of it's below the camera, but I got the red shirt on still. So I just went with that for the July 4th holiday that we'll experience tomorrow. And some of you may be listening or watching this on the 4th itself, as it's being replayed in some places. I do want to add this to the stage just so you can see who we're taking a look at today. And Reese, go ahead and tell us who is in this picture beside you here.
Oh, that's my quarterback coach, Wyatt Davis. He's been my guy since day one. He's trained me since I was in 8th grade. He kind of comes from a small area, kind of like me. Just training guys that don't really have a lot, that are looking to have college scholarships. And just kind of help kids with their brand and kind of just getting other kids out there. And he's really helped me a bunch. And I give nothing but props to him. He's been there for me through a lot of tough times, and I can't appreciate that guy enough, because I'm kind of giving him a shout out. My boy Wyatt Davis, best in the game for sure.
There you go. So, and he doesn't look very old. I mean, honestly, in this picture, you guys could be like younger brother and older brother kind of thing, because it doesn't look like he's 40-something years old. So how old is Wyatt?
I honestly don't know. I think he's 24, 20. I'm not really sure. He'd probably be like, okay, how do you know my age? But if we could bleep that out, that'd be great.
We don't do edits to the show. We don't. No edits here.
All right, cool.
You're all good, man. Hey, it's a compliment to him that he looks about your age, which doesn't seem far off anyway. What are you, 20? Are you 20 or 21?
Hey, yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. We do have two other people jumping on. Our resident JMU fan, CJ's jumping on here saying, "What's up, Dom? What's up, CJ? Glad for tuning into the show." We do have a question here from Artie Cat. What is the atmosphere like under new head coach Brian Vincent? He's done a great job recruiting already. Go ahead and answer that, Reese. We'll jump right into that.
Yeah, he's just created a culture that is unmatched at ULM. I mean, we haven't had a head guy do that in many years. So, hopefully he's going to do a great job. I cannot wait to play for him. I could run through a wall for him right now. But, he's just been with me since day one, and he's recruited me for a really long time. So I just can't wait for what he has in store for us and our team this upcoming fall. So.
Very nice. So let's talk about that recruiting aspect then. As we mentioned when we opened the show, 33 schools officially offered you out of high school, and that's where some of this experience with your now head coach came from. Is that correct? I think he was at UAB at the time, maybe, when you were getting an offer from them? Sir. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir. He was.
Nice. And how close was this one of those experiences where he stays in touch with you throughout time, or was it kind of just the familiarity that came back around now that he's a head coach at this level of the game?
I mean, no, he's always checked up on me, and he's called my dad because it's kind of illegal to when I was at Liberty, Coach Taylor would really text my dad. That's the quarterback coach at ULM. He's been awesome too. I mean, he was the first guy I ever talked to at UAB, and we've been tight ever since. So I give props to him as well. Great coach, works great with us with the guys in the quarterback room. Respect him so much. I'd do anything for him. But yeah, I mean, me and Coach V go back, go way back, and he's just a great coach and a great mentor to me and my family, because my family loves him too. So that's another big thing for me.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So CJ has a question then. So I'll throw this out there. What are your thoughts across the board in Sunbelt recruiting? What teams have shined? And then let me get to the schools that offered you specifically in the Sunbelt with that question. So maybe you can allude to overall what you think or what you've heard throughout Sunbelt recruiting, but you could also speak specifically to a few of these schools and your experience with getting offers from 6 of them within the Sunbelt.
Yeah, that's in the past. I'm not really worried about all that stuff. I'm just trying to, take it one day at a time and hopefully get to play a lot of these guys in the fall. I can't wait. So it's going to be fun.
What about experience playing against any of these guys on other schools? Do you know a number of them, maybe a few here and there? Is that kind of a thing you're looking forward to playing, like a former teammate or someone you have experience with?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know a few guys. John White, he's at Southern Miss, quarterback, and Brian Whitehead, he's at Arkansas State. He was with me at Liberty. He's a really good player, really good teammate of mine. He's been awesome to me too. So can't wait to play those guys and see them after the game and hopefully give them crap because we beat them.
This is one of the cooler parts of what ULM has to offer when you go to play there. The P40 uniforms, especially the helmets, coolest in the Sun Belt, perhaps in the nation. Is that a jersey, a setup, a combination that you're looking forward to wearing on game day at some point here?
Yes, sir. Cannot wait. It'll be awesome.
That's clearly one of my favorite things that the ULM does. We've talked about it before here on the show and in other aspects, but ULM is unfortunately one of the lowest funded schools within not just the Sun Belt, but all of NCAA athletics, not just football either. So when they can do some cool things like that to bring some attention and some shine to the program, very cool. And it's also cool when it's done with, former and military aspects, because that helps bring a whole nother aspect to what it provides there. It's pretty cool. I know I always enjoy that one when you guys wear that one out on the field. TJ, you got any questions before we get into anything more here from some of the commenters?
Yeah. So me, Dom, my questions are geared more towards the X's and O's, right? Like I'm a football head. I do this. I watch it. I coach my son's little league team. I'm everything football. So my questions more stem towards on the field, right? So I know you've sort of just gotten there and kind of getting your feet wet as it relates to kind of being at ULM. Share with us how much you've integrated yourself with, the receivers that you have there, the running backs, the skill players. What does that look like? Have you had a chance to throw the ball with any of them? And what is that, what kind of relationship are you building with the receivers and with your teammates, now?
No, I mean, it's definitely been a huge jump for me because I've actually created a relationship faster with the guys at ULM than I have at any other school that I've been at. And it's been a great thing for me. There's things that we do on offense are big time. We've always stayed in the film room with, me and General and a few other guys, Coach Taylor, but we'll also, Artist tag along. He's one of the receivers from Fresno State. TG, and then we've got Amari coming back. So that's going to be huge for us. I think I've created a pretty good relationship with some of those guys. Need to get a little bit more stronger as the year goes. But I think it'll be a great year for us connection-wise. And the running back room is going to be great too for us. So I can't wait for that. So it's going to be fun for sure.
Route concepts, right? Like, so I know as you kind of transition from one team to another, I know everybody's scheme is different, right? How complex is the route scheme, route tree? I know most colleges, they at least the outside receivers run just about every route, right? But in terms of route combinations and how you guys are set up versus, man, cover 2, cover 3, what has been your, I guess, favorite, routes to throw against, favorite coverages to throw against, and how has that scheme concept in your experience, sort of translated to where you are now? What does that look like from your developmental standpoint? For sure, yeah. No, I'm more. I like our sprint out concept. So we run like a tiger smash, and we'll go, we'll do knife, snob. That's kind of like just getting out on the perimeter and getting working low to high and then high to low, stuff like that. And then you got your regular like coin. That's kind of like basically just smash, but your outside guy's got a whip, and then you got the corner route by the number 2, and then and just stuff like that. I mean, it's been pretty good for me. Just kind of getting the ball out quick. The offense isn't too complex. It's probably the easiest system that I've been in so far since I've played college football. So it's been really good for me and not too complex at all. So you talked about smash routes, and so I played inside the slot. Obviously, from a slot receiver, smash route is obviously my favorite route. I'm playing, I'm running that corner route. The traditional smash route, for those who are listening and don't really know what a smash route is, a corner sit on the outside, usually a 5-yard stop. Yeah. What is the difference between running the whip route, right? Because from what I can understand, and from my experience having played football, when you're running that whip route, right, if that corner, if he's playing cover 2 and he's sitting, if he sees that number 1 receiver go in and he's whipping back out, does that make your read a little more complex in terms of throwing that to, maybe that short whip route? And because, again, most corners are taught if there's nobody in your zone, you back up, take the nearest man. Most time it's going to be that corner route. Does the whip route come open more, or are you able to hit the corner route? Share with me a little bit more in detail kind of what that looks like from a coverage standpoint. I know sometimes you're rolling out, sometimes you're in the pocket when you're throwing that, but what does that look like for you, when you're running those whip routes versus the stop with that smash concept? Yeah. Pre-snap, we're seeing the corner, looking at his depth, and also backside, we're going to have like a cross concept. So that's like your drag. Right. You got your dig coming from behind it. So if you don't have any of those, you eliminate it and then go to your drag window and then your dig. That'd be your 4th read, but I'd probably run. But me too. I'll probably get the hell out of there too. No, we're high low in the corner. Right. If he's kind of playing off, then we're going to probably have the whip. Right. Really quick 3, rhythm 3, get it out quick. It's not going to be like Tiger, or not Tiger, but kind of like not like smash, because you're going to have a little bit more time. Sure. Because on the whip he's kind of going a little bit more towards the sideline, so you kind of got to be a little bit more quicker than that. But and then on the quarter routes, they're taking a blind 3 as they come out of their break, right, and throw them flat, or kind of keep them up, kind of towards the 4-yard highway. But no, now, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. No, you're good. You're good. No, I was going to say, so because again, Dominick knows this. I'm an X's and O's guys. I played this game. I kind of understand coverage settings and where everybody sits, right? Because if you're playing high to low, right, you're reading that corner. If he buzzes back, you're gonna throw it underneath. If he sits, then you're gonna hope that your slot guy can get to that corner route, or to get to that corner route and close to the outside, whether you're throwing it flat or you're throwing it, up on that uphill shoulder. But Are you running that out of a sprint out or rollout concept, or I heard you say three-step drop. What kind of scheme are you guys running that out of, and what does that look like for you coming out of the backfield?
That's just drop back for us, but
Okay.
Some of our sprint out stuff. So we've got a flat route. So say we're running knife. He's running like a really like quick out. The outside guy's going to run like a quick out towards the sideline, and you're going to have the corner. And then we'll run flood. We'll run flood too.
Yeah.
We'll run like blazer left, flood right.
Mm-hmm.
We go blazer 55 to the O line, and then kind of give us our fake, and then kind of roll out.
I was going to say blazer left is probably play action, and then you're booting out. Yeah. Okay.
Got our flat to our flood, and then the guy that's just running the MOR, he's just kind of getting out of there, just kind of taking some defense of the equation, and then you got your drag coming backside. That's a big concept for me that I've learned pretty quickly. So
under what circumstance are you hitting the drag, right? Because obviously primary read is low to high.
Your third read in your progression.
That's what I thought. Okay, because he's coming backside, he's coming underneath that safety, and he's probably sitting on top of those linebackers, probably looking for a hole if there is one, between that outside linebacker and that middle hole safety. You probably, if there is a read, you're hitting him right in that hole, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yep,
for sure.
Nice.
So we'll jump into some questions here because we got a couple of them built up. So Neil wants to know, how much time do you have to get out of a play after you see the defense? So I'm guessing this is a pre-snap read. If you're going to make an adjustment, maybe that's what he's asking here. If I'm hearing it correctly or reading it correctly,
we don't make too many adjustments right now. I haven't played in a live game yet to even see all that stuff, but it is pretty quick. You don't have a lot of time, kind of scan through the defense. What we do is look at safety star, and then we'll go off of that of what we want to do. But, kind of in North Texas, we'd probably see edge pressure and we'd be like, kill or whatever. And we do the same stuff here at ULM, but that's just with like run stuff. But as of right now, we're just kind of like, it's just kind of half field reads. So kind of see or whatever. So say we're running Dallas scat,
right.
One high or man, we'd go with the scat. But if we kind of have two high and, kind of zone, we would go with the Dallas outside. So that's like kind of like an MR. He's kind of clearing it out. And then you've got your dig, like your little in route, 5-yard in route outside. So,
yeah, I was actually going to lean in more a little bit to that question. I know, Dom, you're trying to get to a lot of these questions that have already been asked. I apologize.
Go ahead. We'll get back to it.
No. That said, though, I want to know like how much, and this is a difficult question to answer, I'm sure, from your end, because you've been there a short time. You probably don't have the entire offense memorized, but how much autonomy is coach giving you right now to sort of make checks and changes and your input on, because what I know about having played quarterback, and obviously I played it at a very low level, but I know I played with Armani Edwards, one of the greatest of all time. I played with Richie Williams, one of the greatest of all time as well. And I know that our offense was catered to what their skill set was and what they were able to do. How much of what you guys do is based on what you're able to do, your skill set, and how much input do you have on the type of plays you guys run or are going to run moving forward? And what does that look like from a scheme perspective?
Yeah. But I mean, scheme perspective, a lot of drop back stuff. I love to do that stuff. Just kind of pocket, and also perimeter stuff where we kind of get out with boots and stuff. I have a lot of skill, I think, with throwing on the run. I've had a bunch of people tell me that too, but
yeah, I've seen it. I know you can throw on the run.
Throw on the run. But no, just all that stuff. It kind of ties into my skill set, and Coach Vincent and Coach Taylor are kind of going to do stuff that's within our skill set that we're really comfortable with come game days. So just kind of preparing, kind of every day, just sitting in the film room all the time. So right now the offensive guys, they're kind of like lifting, and the newcomers have their lift after the offensive guys, after we do OTAs and our running stuff in the mornings. So me and General and Aid will go and watch film for hours and just talk ball until that time for us to go work out is. So just kind of learning, from Coach Taylor and kind of learning more about the X's and O's and all that stuff because, that's kind of been my weakness in the past, but I've gotten so much better at it since I've, been in college for a year. So
nice.
So I want to touch on one thing before we get to Chuck's comment about Southern Miss. You play with a guy whose name is General Booty, and you say that you're calling him General. Is this a funny thing that lasted like 0.2 seconds and then everybody was over it? Do people have fun with him? Do people call him Booty instead of General? Like what's that kind of interaction like between the quarterbacks specifically and then maybe the whole team as well?
I just call him the General. Every time I see him, I go, "There's a new General in town." But I just do that because he had a video underwear thing, so I thought it was really funny. But no, he's probably the best teammate that I've had actually in college because he's just so good with just like getting to know people, and he's such a good leader. Like, man, he's a great leader, and I'm just trying to learn from him and what he does on the field and stuff like that. Just kind of following his lead, but also I kind of do stuff to pick him up as well. So it's kind of just a tight duo. But no, it was kind of a funny thing at first, but it's all serious now. So I don't really joke about it. So
yeah, I figure it's more of a fan thing, but again, I had to know if it was something that was like, what are we calling him? Because he's got two cool names, General and Boot. What do you go with? So yeah, it does make sense that you're calling him General. I mean, if you want him to lead on the field, then it's fitting. But I'm sure the fans have fun with the other ones. So, I'm sure we'll see signs throughout the season, which will be fun to see some of that go down. All right. Chuck, who is a leader of the Everyday Eagles podcast, is ready to see you play against Southern Miss. He wants you to take it easy on them. He says they are in the middle of a 15-year rebuild as far as football is concerned, which I'm not sure it's so much, as bad as he's making it out to be there. But, he's just saying that. And he also wants to show some love to TJ's shirt with Dolly there on it. It is a fantastic shirt.
Really cool, cool shirt.
Yeah, no, I got this shirt for $8. I'm not gonna cap. Like I got it for $8. But I love it. And Dom knows this. I'm the t-shirt guy. I've got not a million, but I've got a lot of t-shirts in my arsenal. Most of them are cartoon characters. Most of them are either that or musicians or all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't want to take away from the podcast talk about my wardrobe. But yeah, I do like wearing t-shirts.
There you go. CJ wants you to also take it on JMU. It's been rough, but obviously that one is said tongue in cheek.
Definitely.
But he does have a serious question for you here. He said, "Can we see you in the NCAA 25 game here in a few weeks? Are you aware of how that works?" I would assume they have to be upfront and honest with all you guys that are playing the game. And you could tell us any stipulations that come with or without, being a part of that.
I've gotten an email that I've been accepted in the game, but that was when I was at UNT. So hopefully I'm not on the UNT roster and I'm on the ULM roster. So,
gotcha.
But I hope I'm in the game. That'd be awesome. I cannot wait for it to come out, by the way, a few more days. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
I can't wait.
Very nice. So, yeah, you did touch on that. So we will go back to this real quick. So obviously last year you did spend at Liberty. And so we'll talk about that real quick. Jamie Chadwell was a longtime coach here at Coastal Carolina before moving over to Liberty. Obviously you guys had a tremendous year, undefeated before the bowl game, and then played what was one hell of a good Oregon Ducks team coming in at number 8 there, although you guys were ranked number 23, so you were pretty high respect coming in as well after your conference championship game there. What was it like playing under Jamie Chadwell, being recruited by him? Just tell us anything you'd like us to know about Coach Chadwell.
No, I mean, he was an awesome coach for me. He was great with the players. We had the best year that we've had in program history, so that was a great experience. Wouldn't trade that for the world. Got a ring, so that was really, really cool. Mine actually just got shipped in, and I actually got mine pretty recently. So that was really cool to see and have. But no, just the memories
You
that
don't
I
have
had
it
at
close to you, do you?
Sir?
You don't have it close to you, do you?
It's in my truck. No, sir. It's like 40.
In your truck. What are you doing, man?
That would be a no. It is not close to him. Oh, man.
You want to keep that in the house.
Yeah.
So I mean, with Liberty, it was a really cool experience for me.
Very nice. Very nice. What took you to Liberty in the first place? I do want to ask you that. Is it a little bit more of the religious aspect? Is it just Chadwell and the team and what they offered you and explained to you seemed to fit better than where you were looking at as well? Or what was the significance of ending up at Liberty to start your college career?
Let's kind of backtrack to high school. When Coach Freeze was there, he recruited me, and I committed when he was there.
Okay.
And then a few days before signing day, he ended up leaving. So, I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but I was going to, stick it out and stay. And glad I really did, because I wouldn't have had, the time I did at Liberty. But no, I mean the religious aspect was a huge thing for me. Just growing my faith and trusting the Lord and all that stuff, because He makes everything right. So just once he left, I kind of just made a decision like whoever comes in, I'm going to just stick it out and do whatever I can to help the team win and all that stuff. And then Coach Chadwell came, and he came. We had like a little in-home visit, and went out to eat, ate some good seafood and all that stuff. So it was good. It was good to get to know him and all that other good stuff. But I'm glad I played for him. So,
what was it like playing with Caden Salter? Obviously, widely considered one of the best Group of 5 quarterbacks, probably easily one of the top 2 or 3 that's going to be taken into the NFL draft from the Group of 5 level going into next season. What kind of experience did you have playing with him?
Dude's hilarious, man. I mean, he's a jokester. When I first got there, we went through one time, and he just made me laugh the entire time. Just how relaxed he is before the games and all this other stuff. It's just like, man, it was crazy watching him play. And he just made plays with his feet and with his arm. There would be some times where he wouldn't know what play call was, but he'd just make a play out of it. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I mean, he's just a stud. He's going to be great in the NFL when he goes. And I have nothing but respect for that dude. Still try to talk to him as much as I can, but I'm busy most of the time, so I don't really have the time. But no, he was one of my good friends when I was at Liberty, so it was fun playing with him.
Very nice, very nice. I do want to take a quick time out here to recognize Dano's Seasoning, and I'm bringing this into the picture because I literally used it on my new school mac and cheese tonight. Your little mac and cheese dish with your saltines on there. I threw a little chipotle seasoning on there tonight. It was freaking fantastic. So if you need to spice up your food with some Danos, please do it. We've got the promo code down below. Doggos at checkout will get you a little discount, and it'll give some thanks to the dogs here who are doing what we do, which is provide these types of interviews to you moving forward, specifically based on the Sun Belt. But we obviously have some other guests and things that will appear from time to time. But just wanted to recognize Danos as a presenting sponsor of the show real quick. We have another question from Artie. He says, Reese, what's your favorite non-football activity? What helps you relax with all the pressure you guys are under these days, especially at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I mean, just going out. I love nature. I love being out in the outdoors. Just hunting, fishing. That's kind of been my thing. Just all that stuff that kind of just gives me like a peaceful mind, and just kind of think about life and all that stuff. And I like to hang out with my girlfriend. So that's another thing.
Did you have to say that because she's in the room with you?
I didn't say it. You did.
A little bit, yeah. But
no. I'm sure that's why. I mean,
yeah.
There you go.
I like to play video games.
Now I do have.
So I'll definitely be playing the NCAA game once it comes out. Just kind of chill and stuff. So
nice.
And so were you also considered a recruitable prospect for baseball coming out of high school as well? I think I saw that somewhere. were you at the point where you were receiving offers, I guess, or were you just solely focused on football and didn't even entertain the baseball aspect of things?
Yes, sir. I had 15 baseball, 20 baseball offers coming out of high school. That was kind of my main sport kind of growing up. But football just kind of took off, and baseball really helped me, kind of like different arm slots and all that other stuff. But, I mean, I miss it, but I'm trying it at Liberty. So hopefully it goes well for me. I was pretty good in high school, so hopefully it kind of translates to college because I haven't played in a year. So hopefully it's going to work out. But, just giving it a shot. So.
Arm angles, right? When you're playing baseball, how does, because obviously, you got Russell Wilson, you've got a lot of these guys that have played, whether it's college baseball, high school baseball, how much does that help you in terms of figuring out arm angles, how to fit balls, those kinds of things? Like I say Patrick Mahomes, I bring him up. Obviously, there's not really anyone comparable to Patrick Mahomes, but you see his arm angles, how he's able to drop the ball, how he's able to, change that elbow angle, those kinds of things. How much of that helps you fit balls into tight windows and help with your overall accuracy?
Just arm flexibility is the huge thing for that.
Right.
Just kind of doing like some flexible stuff kind of at night or, at other places that I've been, we've done stuff like that for warm-ups and all of that stuff. And just kind of just throwing a lot, kind of get your arm a little bit in shape so you can actually have the ability to actually have those throws. Because if you don't throw for a while, it's going to really hurt if you try to do that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sure. But, just kind of training yourself to do that, kind of making it muscle memory. Say like you have a defender coming at you and you have to get the ball out quick, but you're going to get absolutely smoked. Just kind of simulating all that stuff, just a game-like situation. That's what I really love about it. So no, that's well, and I bring that up. I obviously asked that question because there's so many quarterbacks in the NFL that obviously, and that's the level that you're trying to get to. That's the level we all wanted to get to at some point in our lives. And a lot of those quarterbacks have played baseball, and you see a lot of them. And one of them, that comes to mind is Matthew Stafford. And how he's able to drop and change arm angles. And I don't know how much NFL you watch or how, what quarterbacks, I'm assuming you watch a ton of it. What quarterback do you liken yourself to, or, who do you try to, I don't want to say emulate because, you're Reese Mooney, right? Like you want to be who you are. You want to make a name for yourself. But if you can model your game after somebody, what does that look like and who is that individual? Physically, obviously Patrick Mahomes, but probably Brett Favre.
Nice.
Gunslinger mentality, just getting the ball out quick and, fitting it in tight windows, throwing the ball really hard when you have to. And I saw an interview that he said, he was like, every day I was trying to, show the coaches like the best throw that I can make every single throw. Just make it the most unbelievable corner route or unbelievable slant throw that they've ever seen. Just kind of that mentality, just gunslinger, don't really care. Getting the ball out to your receivers. That's kind of how, I'm obviously going to care, but
I get it.
Just know that you have the arm strength to make any throw on the field. That's what I like most about Brett Favre. So. No, I get it. And it's a Mississippi made, so that's where I'm originally from. So,
no, I get that wholeheartedly because I had been in the past huge Brett Favre fan. I've always said he's my favorite quarterback of all time. I grew up with Dallas Cowboys, so obviously I love Troy Aikman. But there's a ton of quarterbacks that I loved growing up, and Brett Favre was at the top of that list. I know with him, you talked about the gunslinger mentality and how you can try to use your arm strength to fit balls in tight windows and that kind of thing. Along with that, also, when you take those chances, I know this comes with the ability to turn the ball over, right? And Brett Favre led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in yards.
All time in interceptions.
Yeah. He also led the league in interceptions a bunch of times, right? So how much of that plays into your mind, and how much of that are you taking with you when it comes to – I guess my question is there any level of conservatism that comes when you have when you're back there? Are you thinking about being conservative? Does it even cross your mind? When you see a guy open, do you whip it? Are you looking – take me through when you drop back to pass. are you concerned much about where the defense is, or are you confident enough in your arm that when you drop back and you put your back foot in the ground, you can make that throw with no question?
Well, nowadays you have to be really concerned, because they can disguise coverages and all of that other stuff.
Sure.
But I mean, physically, I love Brett Favre, but mentally, definitely Tom Brady would be at the top of my list. So kind of like having those two, mentalities kind of together, I'd want to match my game after. So kind of just, Tom Brady aspect, being the smartest guy on the field, just kind of making decisions, just, hitting your checks and all that stuff. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a check down. That's what Tom Brady was so great. So that's what I've been trying to work on the most. Just being able to, go from touchdown to check down or first down to check down, just making all the reads that I can, just to move the ball downfield and help give my team a spark. So.
Yeah, check downs can get you touchdowns. That's for sure.
Got another question here for you, and it's any adjustments for the ULM O-line now that you're behind center? Are you similar to the most recent QBs, or will they have to adjust to your style or strength? So I guess to rephrase too a little bit is like, we know that there's a couple of quarterbacks now on the roster. Is there any big changes when you guys are taking practice snaps at this point? Or is
there's no real big changes. There's no real changes really at all. We're all really similar. So
I love that.
Which probably, I was going to say that's probably best because I mean I'm sure O-line guys want to know what to expect. Even this question from Husky Line
as well.
And two, it's kind of twofold, right? Because once you get to it's almost like the NBA, right? Like any one quarterback or one player can sort of change a game based on their style of play. But in college, it's a lot more based on the system. And what has to happen in college is you have to have quarterbacks that aren't necessarily the same skill set, but can make the same reads, same throws, and the offense has to stay the same, stay crisp, right? And I think that's the advantage that us as football purists have in terms of the college game versus the NFL game, is because we know that maybe the talent might not be the same as a Reese Mooney, right, compared to your backup, but we know that we're going to get the same thing out of the system. And whereas in the NFL, if I don't have Tom Brady, my whole offense changes, right? Because, Matt Castle can't do what Tom Brady can do, right? And so we have to tailor the offense based on that. So I think the pure, and I don't want to speak for you, Dominic, but the thing that I love the most when it comes to college football is the purity of the game and the fact that systems matter, and a system can hide a lot of the blemishes based on player performance because of what it brings to the table and what you guys have practiced as a team based on throughout the summer. So that was basically a long way of saying I like the fact that nothing changes, because it shows us that you have a good system, you have a good head coach, and that system runs deep throughout every player that's on that roster.
Could not have said that better.
And I think
that 100%.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think that is why people gravitate towards the college game so much. These guys can't have 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the roster and have a different set that they have to worry about for each one. Unfortunately for them, I guess a little fortunate, now they can literally get paid as they do it, but not all of them are getting paid to do this, right? They're still students first and athletes second. They've got other things to worry about during the day. They can't, they don't know a playbook inside and out for different quarterbacks or running backs or wide receivers or whoever it is. So, yeah, I do like that. And speaking of that aspect of the game, I just want to touch on this one more time. So you've been through the portal. You've experienced this. You're now at Monroe, but do you have any specific stories for you or any former or current teammates that is just kind of crazy, kind of out there? Anything you want to tell us about that portal experience? Because we know it's greatly changed from where it was just a few years ago now. It's more of a free-for-all. Are people just throwing stuff at you left and right? Do you kind of jump in not knowing what to expect, really? Or do you have an idea, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I don't advise being in the portal. It's very overwhelming and stressful. I'm just going to start there. But, no, I mean, my experience in the portal, so when I was leaving Liberty, I kind of got in a little late because of the bowl game. Because I think New Year's 6 guys were a little bit later, like they could get in the portal a little bit later. But as I got in the portal, I took 4 visits back-to-back weekends, and I made my decision, or back-to-back days, and then I made my decision within a week and a half, 2 weeks. So just to put it in perspective, like it's really, really fast. Like it gets up on you really quick if you enter the portal late. So that was kind of really stressful for me, and I kind of jumped the gun a little bit too quick when I made my decision to North Texas. But it just wasn't really the spot for me. Wasn't a great fit, but I loved it there. I liked it a lot. Just wasn't the best fit for me. And then kind of, once it was a lot easier the second time I was in the portal because my relationship was just so tight with Coach V and Coach Taylor that it was a no-brainer. ULM was a spot for me, and it's closer to home. So yeah, it's kind of how I approached it.
And there was another specific aspect that brought you to ULM, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what is her name?
I knew we were going to get there.
What is her name? No,
Yep.
definitely don't have another she. But no, I mean,
Well, you have
also
one. You have one, and that I wasn't trying to say there's another one. You have a girlfriend that brought you to ULM, right? Is that what helped bring you to ULM?
She's at North Texas. Yeah, I didn't know what you meant.
Oh.
She goes to North Texas.
I
Yeah.
got you. My mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're
confused.
good.
I was confused. That's why you were giving me a look. I'm like, well, I thought, okay, I got you. Now I understand. So that's my
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
Yeah, I met her here. She plays soccer here. So
Got you.
no, she's
Okay,
all-
very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But-
Okay.
yeah.
So that's
but,
a downside of having to transfer out, though. Then okay, I got it.
It's what I have to do. But
Yeah.
no, and another reason why I went to ULM is because he's one of my best friends, Austin Ackle. I'm kind of going to give him a little shout out. Me and him have gotten really close, played baseball together.
Okay.
And we got us a little house now that we're staying in together. So that's been pretty cool living with him and stuff. Kind of like kind of a full circle moment because we talked and he was at New Mexico before and then he transferred to ULM. And so we talked just about our other schools and just how our experiences are. And we were like, dude, we're going to play together one day. So, it was kind of like a full circle moment. It was really cool. So
Very nice. What position is he on the team?
he's a linebacker.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Along those lines, with you shouting him out, is there anybody else on the roster that maybe we aren't currently aware of, but probably soon will be, either within the first couple weeks of the season, or you think by the time they go through a whole season, somebody that more of the Sun Belt fans are going to be aware of because of his level of play?
This is a tough one. We got a bunch of new guys. But I mean, I'm gonna kind of go back to Austin. I mean, shoot, if he keeps doing what he's doing now, he's gonna definitely get a shot and he's gonna play really well for us. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what his development's going to be like, because it's going to be really good, and just these next few years are going to be really good for him. I can't wait to watch it. So
nice. Did he get some playing time when he was over there in New Mexico?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So you guys are both coming in
We're still in the same class. We're still
Got you.
End of our freshman year. So.
And that's still considered a redshirt freshman. Is that what they
Yes,
have
sir.
you labeled as? Okay. So you have what will essentially be, if you wanted, 5 years of college at
Yes,
that
sir.
point. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure of that. So that makes a lot of sense. Well, TJ, Reese is going to be heading out to, I think, the lake, you said, right? You're going to spend some time out there on a boat tonight?
Yes. No, not tonight. Tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Oh, nice. Okay. No
I got to
fireworks?
do tomorrow. I got to cook an 80-pound hog tomorrow.
What?
Yeah.
You're a big cook?
So I do a little bit. I do okay.
I started cooking a pretty good bit at the house, a couple times a week. Me and Austin will kind of grill a little bit, but he'll do more grilling than me. But I'll cook on the stove and I'll cook all of my meat on the stove. So and it still comes out really well. So.
I'm a huge outdoor cooker. I prefer. Sure. Yeah, man, I prefer to be outside. I've got a couple smokers, couple grills, couple. I say that modestly. There's a lot of things going on, and Dominick knows this. I do a lot of cooking, man.
Yeah, tell them the name of your side gig there, TJ.
Yeah, I run a catering business called Thick Thighs and Large Fries.
Wow, that's awesome. Thick thighs and large fries. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's how he describes himself there too.
Yeah. These thighs. Here at almost 40 years old, these thighs are thick.
I feel you.
Pause. First of all, pause.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
Oh man, we'll leave it right there with that conversation. Reese, we really appreciate your time, man. We don't want to take up any more lake time because we know how precious that can be when you've got the stresses of college football season right around the corner. So go out and enjoy yourself tonight. Thank you very much for being on the show, TJ, and I'll continue a little spiel here after. But yeah, man, and any parting words, we really appreciate you jumping on with us tonight.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate your guys' time. For giving me the chance to come kind of tell you guys my story, and I really appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we do
Absolutely,
too, man.
Anytime, and wishing you the best of luck throughout the season. Obviously, except against App State, but everywhere else, wishing you the best of luck.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. See you guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot. That was a fun interview, man. And I think is that? I'm trying to think. We had quarterback on yet?
No, that's our first quarterback. We had a running back. We had
Ishmael from Texas State.
Yep.
I don't really know if we've had too many other players, man. Ish was kind of our first.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. We had Jeremiah, who was in high school basketball. But yeah, no, that's our first quarterback. So that's awesome. And the thing that I love the most about his interview, I think it was very much candid, right? Like he privied us to a lot of, and I tried to get as much information out of him as I could as it relates to, X's and O's, right? Because it's always fun to talk about what your portal challenges were and what high school was like and what all those things are. But those kind of guys that are committed to the craft and guys that play ball and understand it, they want to talk X's and O's. They want to talk ball. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I think it was very cool of him to let us in on some of the concepts because I dug a little deep. Right. And I didn't know how deep he wanted to get in it. And thankfully he wanted to share that with us. But I really appreciated his insight on, the route concepts that these guys have and his ability to connect with his teammates. So I really think that, I appreciate his ability or wanting to or willingness to share that with us.
No doubt about it. I actually like hearing that stuff too, and I understand like half of it. But when you guys do the hand signals here on the screen, it makes a lot more sense.
So I got caught into it because I'm always figuring out where the safeties are, corners, and then you got your backers. Anyway, it's always nice to talk ball with people who understand it, who played it, and can see it from that perspective, right? Because I played quarterback in high school, and I'm never going to consider myself a college quarterback. Never wanted to be, never even probably could be. But I do understand concepts, and I understand what coverages and those kinds of things look like. So when you're talking to somebody who has to see the entire field, I know he broke it down to playing. They play halves at a time right now. I'm sure as his experience grows in that offense, he'll be able to see the whole field, which is great. But when you're able to talk to somebody who has that kind of conceptualism as it relates to the ability to see the field, I think, that lends itself to a little bit more detailed of a conversation from the X's and O's standpoint.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense there. We do have another question from Husky Lineman 54. Hint, hint, dear old dad there for me. He's wondering if these kids get any help when they get into the portal, if there's a fee-based organization that they're maybe paying into to help them with that, or are these guys just on their own? If there's no help, way too overwhelming, I think. I would say that there doesn't seem to be any help. I mean, I'm sure a few of these guys probably at the top part of the upper echelon of players may have some sort of agent or someone kind of representing them somehow. I don't really know how that works because this isn't NFL free agency where that stuff's just fine, right? I would think that, teams don't want to deal with an intermediate party. They want to deal specifically with the athlete and their family. But I'm sure it does happen, right? I mean, there's people that probably don't, athletes or families that don't want to deal with it and just want to know, hey, how much is the offer for us to come to you? Because that's a big part of what's being done right now. We've heard that, right? Over this offseason, we've seen Nick Saban talk about it. We've heard other coaches talk about it. It's not even what we can bring to your kid anywhere but financially. I mean, facilities and team and how good they are one thing, but it sounds like and I would say it's probably a small amount, but there are people going out there saying, how much are you offering me to come to your school?
Yeah. So yes, I see the money side of it, right? And that's huge because you're talking about a lot of these kids who come from situations that are less than abundant, right? And so, and I'm looking at it from perspective of myself and from people that I know in the Raleigh-Durham area. There is the monetary amount that's involved as it relates to what can you do for me, what can you offer me, what can you offer my family. But there is too a part of it where there's kids that just genuinely want to play football, right? And I want to go to a school that's going to allow me the ability to play. And so for me, I respect that. And I know we've had this conversation a ton about, how often can you transfer? Should you be able to transfer multiple times? Those kinds of things that I'm against. Once you pick a school or pick a second school, then it should be that school and or those two schools, and that's it. That said, though, I understand a third string quarterback enters the portal from Arkansas State or from Alabama, whatever. Let's call it Alabama, right? And he's a third string quarterback. He's never going to see the field, and I want to transfer to a Marshall or an App State or wherever, because I want to play. At that point, I think so it's two-sided, right? There is the, I don't know. I mean, you name a big quarterback that is transferred. I mean, there's a Bo Nix portion of it, right? That is, can you give me money? But then there's also a, Reese Mooney part of it is that I want to play football. And can you help me play football? Because maybe I don't go to the NFL and that's fine, but I do want to showcase what I can do. So I think there's two sides of it as it relates to the transfer portal and what it has to offer and what it does for these kids. I'm 100% with it. I just think and we've had this conversation a million times, should be some regulations, on that.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I get your aspect, and I do agree with it. And it is interesting that his specific situation was maybe he kind of, with Reese, rushed into that situation at North Texas, right? As I misunderstood. I thought his girlfriend was at ULM. She was at North Texas. So maybe he kind of, maybe he was, I almost got him in trouble. That was totally not.
I saw his face and he started rubbing his eyebrow, and I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, I was like, did I misunderstand? And then sure enough, I did misunderstand. So yeah, not to get him in trouble. His girlfriend is at North Texas. That's why he went there, not at ULM. He's like, I don't have another girl. I'm like, no, I'm not saying you have another one.
I was like, bro, just stop.
Yeah. No, I was digging myself a deeper hole there. I just totally misunderstood the whole situation because he was talking about he was with her tonight, but that's because he's not at school because of the holiday. So
right.
Yeah. Anyways, but that is a different aspect that I haven't really heard before. We haven't really thought of. So he wants to get out of that situation because what he thought was going to happen didn't for whatever reason, whether it was playing time or just not liking some aspect. I mean, he said he actually did like it. So, but there's something there that makes him say, this isn't the place for me right now. So he ends up at ULM. And I do like the fact that is the good that can come out of this. Yeah. But when someone just looks at this on paper and we don't hear his story, we see that he's already on his third team. It seems, people hate that and they just think, oh, he's just jumping for this reason or that reason. Well, you don't know the backstory. And that's why some of these things like this interview was really cool to do. And speaking of that, Artie did say, good interview, guys. We'll see if we can improve in the West this season. A Texas upset would be tremendous for ULM. Yeah. So we didn't get to this part because I wanted to let him go. I didn't want to keep him too long because we had talked beforehand about him trying to get out. Obviously, like I said, his girlfriend was in the room during the interview, so she's probably sitting there twiddling her thumbs talking about football. She's like, all you do is ever talk about football.
Right.
Anyway, I did want to get to that because they do get to play both at Texas and at Auburn this year. So not an easy schedule at all.
Auburn, they can win.
Do what?
At Auburn game, they can win.
Yeah, no, I think that they can. Especially, by the time – now that one's at the end of the season. Sometimes those matchups are better at the beginning when Auburn's got no video to prepare on this offense because this is a new offense with new players. I mean, this is a team that came in or came off a 2-10 season, fired their head coach, brought in tons of transfers, a bunch of people transferred out. Now they have a new head guy. I mean, that's why I think Artie's right. I mean, the talent level is obviously – on paper, greatly in favor of Texas.
Sure.
Texas has no idea what they're going to see out of ULM.
Yeah.
Now, after week 1, because I think that's a week 2 matchup, after week 1, there is going to be some stuff on tape, and it is going to become easier for Texas to see a little bit out of what to expect. But let's also make no mistake here. In all expectations are that General Booty is the quarterback to start the season. Well, guess what? He was at Oklahoma. So do you think he fears Texas or going into Texas? I'd say he probably doesn't.
I would say not.
Yeah. So it's an interesting aspect to what ULM's going to face, and they also have a whole Sun Belt slate to play in that as well. In fact, let me bring up their thing. So they start off the season at they have Texas week 3. They actually start off at Jackson State and UAB. They host Jackson State and UAB to start the season. So actually a favorable start.
I was going to say 2 wins.
Yeah, should be 2 wins. Jackson State's no joke, right? I mean, we know Dion left, but he left behind some talent still, and I think that team and that program still got a boost from his appearance there as head coach. So I think Jackson State's still going to be a pretty prominent FCS team for a little bit.
Sure.
So we'll see what they do. You've got Trent Dilfer as the head coach at UAB. He just appointed because I wrote the article, wink, wink, hint, hint, on collegefootballdogs.com. He just appointed a former offensive lineman who spent 12 seasons in the NFL to the O-line coach. So you've got 2 former NFLers right there without even going through the rest of the staff. There's probably more. Knowing Trent Dilfer, he's probably brought on guys who have further experience. So you've got a UAB team who could be dangerous too. So it's both are very winnable. I don't know if they're going to be easy matchups. And then they got week 3 at Texas, which, as we all know, is supposed to be a very, very good team this year. Is that a top team for you, TJ? As you've looked over the college football landscape and followed since last season, you've got the whole quarterback situation there, probably sorted out with Ewers, and even if he goes down, you got Manning in the background. I mean, is that a team that you think could end up near the top as well? Yeah,
I've got him as a top 10 for sure. I mean, obviously they lost Worthy. They lost a couple good, I forget their starting running back's name. They lost him. Listen, they're going to be a really good football team. Nobody's unbeatable, though.
Right.
You've
proved that.
That is a fact. That said, though, it is Texas, right? And there's a level of pride that they're going to come and play with. And, none of these teams, and I hate to bring up 2007 because I hate living in the past. It was 18 years ago, however long it was ago. But these teams aren't now going to take teams lightly because no one wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to be anecdotal. No one wants to be but you guys lost to so-and-so. Yeah, we won a national championship, but we lost to Joe Blow, whatever, right? So I do think Texas is going to cause a problem for them. But going back to your point about Trent Dilfer and UAB, I'm not a fan of Trent Dilfer as a coach. I'm not. Okay. And I think that team, and they're going to have some talent, right? They always, Alabama, Birmingham, right? They're going to have talent. But the style of coaching that Trent Dilfer offers, or at least from what I've seen, is not conducive to today's, 18, 19, 20-year-old. They don't. Okay. They're not gonna be good at getting yelled at and screamed at on camera in front of people and being made a mockery of. And that's his MO. I don't want to say that's his MO. And I don't want to paint a picture that Trent Dilfer is not a good coach, because I do think he's a good coach. But I think how your players respond to you is a different level. right? And I think that's the difference between a Deion Sanders or Nick Saban than a Trent Dilfer, because Nick Saban and Deion, they have the DNA, they have the cachet to be able to yell at me on camera, and it doesn't last very long. Trent Dilfer ran a guy into the ground, essentially. You know, it's like, come on, man, when is enough enough? And so hopefully that's changed, and hopefully he's not that guy anymore. But you are who you are. And I don't think, I think Sydney wasn't awful QB in the pros, let's be honest. I don't know if awful is the term I'd use. He didn't win a Super Bowl.
He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's hard to say awful when you do have one. Right.
But he also had, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and freaking Shannon Sharp. So, there's that Jamal Lewis.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I say all that to say I fear UAB less with Trent Dilfer as the head coach than I would at Texas.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. I got you. And Sydney also wants to know, let us know, FSU got hosed.
False. That is false.
I think no. I'll say this as far as the FSU thing. I think they got hosed as far as you've set parameters and these parameters are met. How do you change the finish line, right?
Because you and I both know they weren't good enough. They weren't good. Like, the reality of it is, and I know what you're getting at. I get it. And I've had this argument the entire offseason with everybody. I've got Leonard Love is a Florida State fan. Like, okay. There's a ton of Florida State fans that I know that I'm friends with. And I have this argument almost monthly. Bro, we know the product that was put on the field against Louisville. We saw it with our own eyes. You could barely stop them, and, you barely put up points. What would you have done in the Final Four? What would you have done? You'd have gotten blown out. And I mean that respectfully, because I do think that FSU is a really good football team. But Travis was not playing. And that is the biggest, that's your offensive identity. And if he's not there, that's like us playing against Michigan without Armani Edwards. No.
Unless we had Travaris Cadet, then we could have made a.
I don't know. I love Travaris Cadet. That's my guy. I love him to death. I know. Armani Edwards.
I know. You know who did play for FSU was Tate Rodemaker, and now is the expected anyway starting quarterback at Southern Miss.
Oh, okay.
A Sun Belt conference team. Yeah. So we've got that to look forward to. Wrap it all back into a Sun Belt specific thing that we can talk about there. So it'll be interesting because you're right. I mean, there was a significant drop off. Let's just be real about it. And that's where I was going to say I do agree with you. I do think they would have got smashed.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been close.
But if they had the difference of a playmaker at the quarterback position who was healthy, I do think there's no way you could have denied them at that point, right?
Sure. If they're starting quarterback again playing, then absolutely. But also, if they're starting quarterback again playing, they would have put up 50 against Louisville. But they didn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was an ugly game all the way around. Neither team was impressive. Yeah. I remember watching it and having my phone in my hand and just not paying attention to it at all.
Yeah, it was the worst ACC championship I think of probably the last 20 years.
I don't think I could possibly disagree with that, because I don't remember one being worse than that. At least other ones have some significant moments. I feel like that one just didn't. RDCat is saying Texas will choke, calling Dr. Heimlich choking victim in SEC conference. Yeah, how great would it be to have Texas come in, beating their chest? Oklahoma's doing a little bit of that too. I think Oklahoma's a little bit diminished because of some line expectations. They've got to rebuild these lines. But Texas is coming in thinking that they are a national championship hopeful, and they're going to just run this gauntlet through the SEC. I don't think they necessarily expect it to be easy, but I think they do expect to beat people. But how great would it be, especially for a program like ULM, who is in their own right rebuilding with a brand new coaching staff and a lot of transfer players coming in after a decent amount had also gone out. So how great would it be if the Warhawks could spring the upset? Because remember, not too long ago, ULM was one of the only G5 teams to ever hand Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide a loss. I think people forget that, but ULM sprung this surprise on the Alabama Crimson side. Now, they weren't what they are these days, okay? So we do have to be honest about that. That was at the very beginning of Saban's tenure there at Alabama before they became a perennial national champion and powerhouse. But obviously, Alabama still expected to win that game many years ago, and they did not. Already saying we'll put TJ, although Deion is turning Colorado from stage 1 to stage 3 dumpster fire, he's not a good coach. Oh,
disagree strongly, and I disagree on a lot of levels. And so, okay, define good coach, because what I need to know is, what are you basing that off of? Because we've seen him for a year, right? We understand what Deion has done for 1 year of football. They weren't very good. They weren't very good to begin with. They couldn't block me and you. So Shedeur had zero time to throw a football. That said, all of their playmakers are coming back, and they've got some O-line transfers coming in. So I think what we need to do is give them a little bit of time to see what they do offensively, and are they able to block somebody. That said, them being able to stop people is a key part of what they do as a team as well. Because they, again, they've scored 40 points a game almost, but they also gave up 45. So, that's not going to happen either. So offensively, they were really good, except for being able to block. Defensively, they need to, be able to stop people. Shiloh's not a very great safety. Well, I'll give you that. They're not great on the back end. Travis Hunter is excellent dual threat. He can do whatever. But to say Deion is a, dumpster fire, or he's not a good coach, I think that's extremely inaccurate given 1 year of football and what we've seen him to be able to do. There's a lot of good coaches, or there's a lot of coaches that in NCAA that are much worse than Deion. And I think him being self-aware and hiring the staff that he's hired, Warren Sapp and these guys that are coming in to help rebuild this program and retool them, I think that's going to go a long way in terms of what they can do moving forward. So I disagree strongly about him not being a good coach. And I think more so than being a good coach, he's a better person. He's a better mentor and a better father to these guys than he is a coach. I think that goes much longer. I mean, we'll call a spade a spade. How much coaching did Jerry Moore do? Let's be honest. I was there. I know what he did. I know what he didn't do. Jerry Moore didn't call any plays. He told us what we should run and what we shouldn't run. And in situations, Jerry Moore didn't call any plays. And I love him to death because he was a great father figure to the team. But Jerry Moore was not a head coach. Jerry Moore was not a X's and O's guys. He might have been in his heyday, but he wasn't when I got there. And I mean that respectfully. Scott Satterfield, Sean Elliott, all of our assistant coaches, they did a much greater job than what the tabloids would read. Jerry Moore got a lot of the credit. But I think, too, being self-aware of who you are as a head coach and bringing in the right people who can coach those teams, I think that matters way more than who you are as an X's and O's guys. So I went a long way to say, let's pump our brakes on whether or not Deion is a good coach, because we don't know yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they say Mac Brown is the same type of coach, right? It's more about being the recruiter and the face and the voice of the team as the front, the CEO type of coach, right? Deion is definitely that more. I mean, he's brought in a lot of really good, experienced coaches to help his staff with the X's and O's aspect. I will say one thing that I didn't love about Deion's interaction is, like, whatever happened with the kid who transferred out and they went back and forth on Twitter, I think he should stay the hell away from that. That's a bad look. You can't win that. You don't look like the winner in that. You look like you're coming down to that kid's level. Whether that kid did something inappropriate to be gone or said about you in public, whatever, you have to just ignore that crap. You cannot be involved in that as a head coach, especially a Twitter beef. Like, just leave it alone. You got to move on from that. But I do agree. I think he brings in a lot of good, very good, talented players. And like you said, there are people out there who don't like the way certain coaches yell at them, get in their face, try and tell them to do something different in a different light than, hey, buddy, you need to go out there and try harder, right? You're not going to get that at this level of football.
No,
but
not in these successful.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Trent is not the solution. His coaching style is from the 1960s. Yeah, I mean, that's probably – he's just coaching how he was brought up, right? I mean, I'm sure that's kind of And that's the interesting part of what Dion does is I don't think he is coaching the way he was brought up necessarily. I think he's doing it the way he wished it would have been done when he was there. So it is a different aspect.
I think Dion is adapting, right? And shout out to my granddad, Ronald Horton. I think Dion is adapting to what today's modern kid is. Like these kids now are driving better cars than you and I. Oh, you know what I mean? Like they don't need us to tell them how to manage life or how to do this, that, and the third. What they need is somebody who can understand them on a personal level. And I think that's the difference between Dion and a Nick Saban. Nick Saban is from an era where I don't give a crap about what you are, who you are as a person. I care about how good you are as a football player, right? And I think, and that doesn't mean that Nick Saban isn't developing character. Please don't misplace what I'm saying. I think there's more of an emphasis on it now because of where social media is and where the time is now. Because when I grew up, these coaches didn't care about my feelings. They didn't give a damn about what I felt or what I thought or who I was or who I thought I was. They cared about the betterment of the team and what that means, and then also helping you be a good person off the field. Now it's much more than that because these kids now have so many outside influences and there's so many channels to get to the outside. You can be at home and still know what the culture is like. And I think Dion is tapping into that. And I get that people might not be a fan of the way he coaches and his style, especially his bravado, wearing all the chains and all that stuff. I get it. I understand it 100%. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing, right? But it is the thing of these kids that are growing up. And it is the thing of these kids that he's going to reach. He's making it cool to say you can wear chains, you can talk the way I talk, you can walk the way I walk, but what you got to do is also back it up on the field. And if you're not doing that, I'm going to pull you. You're not going to play football. And so that's the difference is you might not like his style, you might not like who he is as a person or how he interacts with these kids, but the thing you can respect is the way he gets at them and the way he understands them on that level.
Yep. No, you definitely, I mean, he didn't get to Colorado by chance, right? He did what needed to be done at Jackson State to help turn that program around. And like we just said, they're going to be on ULM schedule to start the season. So we'll see what they're made of, even though this will be year 2 without him. But like I said, I still think there's some talent there that's going to show on the field. I think Jackson State, I can't remember if they made it to the FCS playoff. They're one of those teams that's in the HBCU conferences that have a chance to play in the Celebration Bowl. But if you don't make it to that, you could end up in the FCS playoffs. And I can't remember if that was the team that went on or not.
No, they lost. They lost. I guess in that bowl game or whatever it ended up being.
So they were in the Celebration Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, they ended up losing. I think it was a game tying or game winning touchdown or whatever it was.
Gotcha.
But I see Artie Cat's comment, and he has the 3 criteria of treating people decent, horrible game planning, and nepotism. 2 of those I strongly disagree with. I disagree with all 3, but treating people decent, I don't know that Dion's ever treated anybody in a bad way. I know he had the interview with a guy that kept calling him Dion and wouldn't call him Coach Prime, and then he exited the interview. I don't know that it's so much treating people badly as so much it is call me what I'd like to be called. There's people nowadays, there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's all the people who want to be called what they want to be called. So I get it. If you don't like it, that's understood. I'm 2 ways about that. I really don't care. Horrible game planning, I disagree based on what he had to work with because he had to throw the ball 50 times a game because he can't run it. They can't block. They can't block anybody. So you got to throw the ball 50 times a game. And the nepotism aspect of it, name 6 better quarterbacks in college football right now better than Shedeur Sanders or the numbers that he produced and put up last year. You can't do it. You know what I mean? Nepotism only matters if the person that it's, that you're classifying in terms of being in that category is not good enough. Shedeur Sanders is obviously good enough. Yeah. He's coached by Tom Brady. You don't get much better than that. So I disagree with that.
I don't know if you can get better than that.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think unless Patrick Mahomes wins 4 more, and then we start calling him the new Tom Brady.
True. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's as Reese pointed to earlier too. It's the mental aspect too of what Brady can do. He said Favre was more of his favorite quarterback, maybe play style wise, but Brady has what is needed when it comes to the mental aspect. We've seen some of that even outside of football as he's, gone on his media tour, it feels like, with his Netflix roast special and everything else, which, man, if you haven't checked that out and you want a good laugh and you don't get easily offended, because if you do get easily offended, don't bother. But some of that stuff is absolutely hilarious. So Artie, it wasn't pleasant for the players at Colorado. Remember, he called them losers. Yeah, but sometimes like that, I think that's kind of what TJ's saying too, is like some of them need to hear that, right? Like, I'm going to prove that I'm wrong.
What do you mean? Yeah. Like, you're either good or you're not good. I don't. So Artie obviously doesn't know App State and all that whole deal. Do you understand what type of coach Coach Elliott was? I know Dominick, firsthand.
The type that would hit himself in the head before a game with a helmet and make himself bleed.
Yeah, there was times that I dropped the ball in practice because I didn't want to get hit one time. He told me to go sit on the sideline and that he was going to take my scholarship. He told me that I was trash. Okay, he told me that I was less than a football player because I didn't want to get hit at practice. So if you think Deion is the only person who's ever said that, you are sadly mistaken. It just wasn't publicized. Right. The difference is everything Deion says is going to be on camera. It's going to be on screen. It's going to be on your social media. You're going to have it at your hand, at your beck and call. I remember watching the off-season training with South Carolina Gamecocks, and there was a fumble that happened, and Coach Elliott looked at one of his guys and said, "Go get that football. If you don't get on that football, you might lose." Or he said, "You know what happens if you don't recover that football?" And the guy said, "What?" He was like, "You're going to be recovering a new scholarship." So you understand? Like, this isn't new, Artie. Like, this is stuff that's been going on for generations. I don't care how you feel about it. Not you personally, Artie. I'm saying individuals. I don't care how you feel about it. If you're good enough to play, you're going to play. If you suck, you suck. His offensive line was trash. It was awful, and they needed to hear that. Go somewhere else if you don't want to. If you don't want to be good, if you don't want to be challenged, if you don't want to be great, then you can't be a part of what's going on in Colorado or at any university, because you're going to be told if you're not good enough, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah. All that being said, he's predicting Colorado ends in the bottom 5 of what he's calling the Little 12. Do you think? And it's a fair question, right? Because they still have a lot of development to do. Like you said, they couldn't block anybody. They may not be able to block anybody this year. We'll have to wait and see if that holds true. Do you expect them to have a better year or about the same or worse?
I think it's going to be better. I don't know how much better, right? I don't know. It's hard to say, only because, I know they've got some talent they brought in on the offensive line. I don't ever worry about them offensively from a skill perspective. They've proven to us that they got the skill players. The skill players I'm not concerned with at all. I'm concerned that they can block somebody, because last year they couldn't build a dam against a puddle of water. So I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. And defensively, they just weren't big enough to stop anybody on the offense or the defensive line. So the difference between winning and losing when you get to that level of football is up front. That's the difference. Is the skill players, generally speaking, they all run between a 4.3 and a 4.5, right? They're all going to be semi-fast. Most of them have some of the same talent. They just didn't go to a good or big high school, right? I'm a direct product of that. But the difference is always going to be what you can do up front. So it's going to depend on how it's offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, I just had to put those up because I think you get a kick out of that. Already says, sorry about your experience, TJ. I dealt with the saddest before, too. Yeah, with his experience in the military, I'm sure that he did, because that is probably, you got yelled at the same way, if not even worse. Probably much worse. Saying Primetime needs another 4 or 5 years total. And yeah, I mean, I do think he'll learn along the way with his players too, of things to make changes to and do differently to better succeed down the line, right? So I think that all makes perfect sense. I want to say, Brian did have one. Brian Howard. People forget that because it was before 2009 when the fan base was established. I think that's referring to the Jerry Moore comment with App State. I'd say this fan base was established before 2009 if I'm making that argument, TJ. As we know, I think your classes, maybe just before your class even too, was really what helped cement the fan base, because I remember growing up in Hickory, North Carolina, and knowing all about Appalachian State. Now, they hadn't won national championships, but they had been consistently good for many years. Obviously, Scott Satterfield-led team had gone undefeated in, 95?
Yes, I think it was 92,
so,
whatever it was.
Right. So, and now the new head coach, well, not new at this point, but Sean Clark was on that team blocking for Satterfield. So, the experience is there. It's led to this. So I would make the argument that the fan base was established well before 09, but I do understand what the sentiment is there, that there are people that didn't pay as close to it.
He's talking nationally. So, yeah, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yes, there you go. Nationally versus locally. That's absolutely correct. Ben James is reminding us that 59 days until Arkansas State football begins. He did ask a question about their new hire at the baseball head coaching staff position. I have not. I'm aware of it. I haven't gone through and turned on my baseball thing yet, because I turned it off after baseball season was over. So I'm football minded now. I haven't really broken that down. The 3B podcast, that was great for baseball season. I'll give ourselves a little publicity there. And Artie had jumped on one of those live shows, TJ. So if you want to see what Artie looks like, I think you might have tuned in and checked that out for a minute. But we had Artie Cat on the show. It was awesome, man. It was a good time. He has a nice background setup, which helped me try and look up this setup as we go there. He also says Arkansas State's quarterback, Jalen Rayner, North Carolina native, for those that don't remember that, was just named the best quarterback at the Manning quarterback camp over some big name Power 4 quarterbacks that were also there. Yeah, I mean, the kid's just insanely impressive. What was it? At least once last season, the Arkansas State Red Wolf offense put up over 70 points to win a game. I think wasn't that the shootout with like Texas State? It was just no defense, just like 70 to 56 or something like that.
Yeah, it was just nuts.
Just ridiculous. He's asking us, and we're going to go down through these breakdowns as we progress through the summer and get closer to the season, but maybe a quick thought on if Arkansas State gets to 6 wins or not this season. They got to 6 wins. They got to a bowl game last year.
I was going to say, they did it last year.
Yeah, I'm saying they exceed that. They've got another year. Rayner's going to be the full-time known commodity coming in this year, which he was not last year. You've got Butch Jones there still, the head coach. He's kind of finally – he's been bringing in the talent. It hasn't really clicked. It seems like it's clicking now. So I'm going to say over 6 wins for Arkansas State. We'll break down which ones those are going to come against specifically as we get, again, closer to football time. He's also stating that they're the only team in college football with the waterfall feature, which go off and light up when they score touchdowns. So that will be cool. If you haven't experienced that in person, I actually went to an Arkansas State game where they never got into the end zone against App State. But I was there in person. I got to see the waterfall over there. I did not get to experience it going off. So in the video game, we'll be able to replicate that and experience that, which is pretty cool. And I do apologize, James, because he's saying, hey, you're only focusing on Artie's comments. I try and get to him in a specific order so we don't have to jump around as much. But Artie's even agreeing Arkansas State will also be much improved. They can be a spoiler again for us this year. Yes, as Artie is alluding to, that game that I was talking about with Texas State last year. And, Ben is agreeing with that. So that, I guess, maybe wraps it up here, TJ, unless you've got anything else you want to share. I know we've just been jumping back into this. This is not the official start of season 3 here of Sunbelt Syndicate. On season 2 with TJ being on board, so it's been much improved since season 1 when you listen to me talk by myself for a lot shorter period of time than we have now.
I'm sure you were fine. No, man, listen, I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about what we can talk about and these guys that are coming back and these guys that are going to be great. I mean, obviously hugely excited about App State and what kind of year they're going to be. I'm super interested in what JMU is going to look like, right? You and I don't know, right? I mean, half the team's gone, but I'm excited to see what that could look like moving forward. Sunbelt Conference is going to be, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because there's a lot of traffic in and out. So super excited about what can happen. Arkansas State, I think you guys are going to win 7 to 8 games next year. I mean that seriously. I think you guys are going to be really, really good. Certainly make another bowl game. And I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to get this thing rolling. 60 days, and we're here.
Yeah, not far at all. Already saying a lot of winnable opening week games for the Sun Belt teams this season. And I do have to agree, again, we haven't done our deep dive between the two of us just yet. We're kind of putting those things together. We're going to have some really cool previews for you guys coming up throughout the summer before we get into the season starting. But yeah, college football, baby, is right around the corner. Can't wait. Arkansas State gets to play Michigan, as Ben is letting us know there. So, yeah, guys, stay tuned. Obviously, with the summer vacations, TJ and I are going to put together some sort of schedule. We will try and stay on our kind of usual day and time, which is about now on Wednesday nights. For those of you tuning in live, if you're watching this later or tuning into the audio version, we do appreciate that as well. And we'll keep up with things on that aspect as well. So we don't officially have another show for next week as of yet. I will be on vacation, but may still be able to do a show. I'll be right there near Conway, South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach there, TJ. So
nice. I'll be
maybe if we can get a player on from there, we'll do something from over that way. But we'll have to see how that goes, because it's also vacation time. So
yeah, I'm gonna be at Atlantic Beach cooking some hogs. So
there you go. And we will also be trying to get to the Sun Belt Media Days. We're still awaiting word on that. Unfortunately, even if we get approved, TJ will not be able to make it. He has prior commitments. I think you said it was a wedding and bachelor party thing going on. So unfortunately, TJ won't be there. I would try and be there if they approve me. So if you're watching this from the Sun Belt, home stand down there in New Orleans, just slide a little approval our way. We'll get going down there. Yeah, get after that hog, TJ. Happy 4th from Husky Line before. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys down the road, maybe as soon as next week. But again, don't want to commit to that until we got something firm for you. So until next time, we will see you guys later.